Jets lose an absolute nail-biter to the Buffalo Bills. The rival first-place Buffalo Bills final score 20-12. Tough pill to swallow for sure. I mean, I think it comes down to one thing, and we talk about it in almost, I want to say, every single recap video. It's the mistakes, it's the mishaps, it's the mental errors that kill this Jets team. I mean, on paper, the Jets had more total yards, 309 compared to 232 with the Bills. They ran more plays, 73 to 54, so almost 20 extra plays. They had more passing yards, more time of possession, around 9 minutes to be exact. They had more first downs. They were way more efficient, a lot better on third downs compared to Buffalo. But the Bills won the game. The Bills won the game. Why? Because the mistakes ended up being too much. They piled on way too much for the Jets to win in the end. And look, of course, again, we have to credit Buffalo. It's a fantastic team. In my opinion, they are still the best, or, at worst, a top 3 team in the NFL. We're in their house. It's bad weather. I get it. And by the way, they had a couple of key pieces back, guys that weren't there the first time these two teams played. Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer as well. So, we have to look at the game with full context and understand that Buffalo is not the banged up 3-win Bears. It's a really, really good football team. And at the end of the day, the Jets did only lose by 1 possession, and they did have an opportunity to go down the field and score in the end. Albeit they also had to convert on a 2-point conversion as well to tie it. But still, the Jets were in this game. They hung around. They had an opportunity to win, and they outclassed the Bills in so many different categories. Numerous categories here. The Jets had them beat, and it wasn't just like, oh yeah, the Jets only had 15 seconds of, time of possession on Buffalo. Again, no, it was like 8-9 minutes. Much more first downs, way better on third downs, and it's disappointing. Let's talk about the mistakes. First things first, the flags, the penalties, absolutely killer. Every single week, the Jets have multiple penalties, and it's just super frustrating to watch, whether it's a false start, whether it's a holding, whether it's something after the play. The penalties have got to be looked at throughout the week, and they have to trim down on them. I mean, if the Jets can just get penalized like once or twice, maybe 3 times a game, that would be absolutely tremendous in the grand scheme of things. They were flagged 7 times for 61 yards. I mean, I just don't know how many times the Jets can continue to roll out there on Sunday and just hand the opponent free yardage. I mean, they get away with it sometimes, but when you're going up against a really, really good football team, those yards matter. And it's not just the yards, it's also 7 stoppages as well. Some of those were massive. Like Mosley jumping over the line on a 4th down, a 4th and short, where you're not even 100% sure if the Bills are going to snap it or not. Like, that was a massive, massive mistake there. Forget about the penalty yard. It's just giving the Bills an opportunity to go down the field. Lo and behold, that's the touchdown. How many points did the Jets lose by? 8. So it's just mistakes like that. We could point to problems on special teams, whether it's just bad punts by Braden Mann, or early in the game when Braxton Berrios is just letting punts go over his head and the Bills are downing it so deep into Jets territory. I mean, listen to these Jets starting field positions, right? Where this team is lining up to start drives. In the first half alone, own 2-yard line, own 20, Buffalo 48. That's solid, but the Jets ended up going backwards because of a flag on that drive, ended up giving it right back to Buffalo. Next drive, own 6. Next drive, own 26. So the Jets are not starting these drives on the 30, 35, 40, 45. And I'm not saying that the Jets, can only have success if they, if they get a 50-yard field, of course. But this is the NFL, and when I mean, the Buffalo Bills have a stacked defense, and we keep on talking about it, but it's bad weather, it's in their house. You can't just expect Mike White to go on these 95, I mean, in some cases, 98-yard drives. I just don't think it's realistic, So problems on special teams. We can also take a look at 2 more critical mistakes. 2 turnovers, 2 fumbles. How many turnovers did the Bills have? 0. How many did the Jets have? 2. Joe Flacco getting hit. I mean, just getting absolutely collapsed by the defensive ends from the Bills. Strip sack fumble. Bills take over. Right, that was a solid. We were talking about field position. The Jets were right there. They were within striking distance. Mike White gets hit, gets knocked out of the game. Joe Flacco comes in, for a couple plays, bam, Bills ball, just like automatically. Michael Carter at the end of the game, Jets are driving, about to put points on the board. I believe at the time, at the point of the fumble, the Jets were in the red zone. Bills ball automatically. So it's just the mistakes, and then of course stacked on top of the injuries, which the Jets sustained a ton. Whether it's Mike White, having to leave multiple times because of a rib thing. I'm hoping he's okay. I mean, to me, he looked like an absolute warrior out there, continuing to go out there and fight. It just didn't look like Joe Flacco had any sort of life with the offense. To me, it kind of felt like the Jets did not have a chance if Flacco was going to be the quarterback for the remainder. So I credit Mike White for, rolling out there and dealing with the pain. Corey Davis was hurt early on and did not come back. Quinnen Williams was hurt, did not come back. George Fant was hurt as well. It looked like Eccles at the end of the game got hurt as well. Garrett Wilson came up limping at one point. It's just tough. The injuries with this Jets team is just so tough to watch. It's so painful to watch. And, these are special players here. Ultra talented guys that really mean a lot to this Jets team. It's just so tough watching the injuries stack up every single week. And, Mike White too, man. Like, I'm really hoping that White's okay, because he looked like, I don't know if he should have been. It was just tough. Like, to me, I'm thinking about the ribs. I don't know. I'm hoping White is available, for the week of practice and is good to go for the Lions game, because, man, he took some nasty shots. Tough, man. Tough. So, Jets fall to 7-6 on the season. As far as these next couple games are concerned, right, the 4:00 hour, and then of course Monday night. Monday night's obvious. We need the Arizona Cardinals to beat the Patriots, right? If the Patriots beat the Cardinals, it is looking like the Jets, if the season were to end this week, would be knocked out of the playoff race, and the Pats would be put into the playoffs. Same record, 7-6. And then with the Chargers and Dolphins, that kind of depends on how you want to look at it. If you're gunning for the AFC East, which is unlikely at this point, you probably want the Chargers to win. But if you're just having the mindset of, hey, I want to make the playoffs, I want to get into the wild card, which at this point looks a lot more probable, then we need actually the Dolphins. As much as I hate to say it, we need the Dolphins to beat the Chargers because of that tight in the hunt race between the Jets, Patriots, and Chargers. Unfortunately, the Bengals won today. Luckily though, the Titans did lose, but unfortunately with the AFC South, it's just it looks like Tennessee's going to be making the playoffs regardless. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. The Jets dropped the game. To me, it was because of mistakes, mental errors, miscues. Stuff cannot be happening. It cannot be happening. You cannot give very good teams free yardage and turnovers and all these different things. The Jets, again, on the day, beat the Bills in so many different statistics, so many big statistics, and they walked away on a losing end because it, tough. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.